I was 22 years old when I arrived in Northern California. I had just dropped out of my second college, the University of Chicago, and driven all the way across the country to Berkeley, where I rented a little apartment and got a job as a computer programmer. I'd fallen in love with computer programming at the University of Chicago. The university had just purchased its first computer, and I persuaded one of my professors to let me use it to do some research on genetics. Back in 1964, there was no such thing as a computer science degree. I learned to program in the university's biophysics lab. I was a terrible student. I would never have graduated without their exceptional leniency. The problem was not the course material. I liked my classes, and I was fairly good at most of them. But I was always working on a project that was more important than my coursework, at least that's what I told myself. I was an amateur astronomer, studying radiation from Jupiter's moon, Io. I was a sailing instructor. I played rock and roll guitar in a cover band. When I left Chicago, I wanted to take what I'd learned and use it to solve a bigger problem. I wanted to create the first working artificial intelligence. That's why I drove out to Berkeley. There were 2 AI labs there, one at Berkeley and one at Stanford. After a few years working as a computer programmer, I moved to Silicon Valley and started a little consulting company. For the first few years, I had a single employee, me. It never occurred to me to get a real job. I was going to start my own company. My first company was called Software Development Laboratories. Our first customer was a division of the CIA called the Office of Naval Intelligence. The CIA was building the first ever relational database. The code name for the project was Oracle. This was the mid-1970s when virtually no one outside of the academic community had ever heard the term relational database, but we were convinced it was going to be big. Very big. We were so convinced that we renamed our company Oracle. My goal was to make Oracle the dominant player in the software industry, and to do it by delivering the best technology in every one of our market segments. We wanted to build the best database, the best development tools, the best applications. Our strategy was to create a complete integrated suite of products. It took us about 25 years, but eventually we succeeded. Today, Oracle is the largest enterprise software company in the world. The journey was not without setbacks. We made mistakes. We had our share of failures. We had our share of disappointments. We lost some big deals. We laid people off. There were times when I wasn't sure we'd make it. But every time we made a mistake, we learned from it. Every time we got knocked down, we got back up. We kept moving forward. As I've said many times, great achievers are driven not so much by the pursuit of success, but by the fear of failure. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. The companies that have succeeded over the long term, that have been the most innovative, have been the ones that were willing to take the biggest risks. As I look back on my career, the most important decisions were the ones I made when I was young and relatively unknown. When I was first starting out, I was willing to take risks that others weren't. I was willing to bet the company on a new product. I was willing to go head-to-head with much bigger companies. I was willing to disrupt the status quo. My advice to you is simple: follow your curiosity. Follow your passion. Find something you love to do and do it with all your heart. Don't let anyone else tell you what you should be doing with your life. And don't be afraid to take risks. The bigger the risk, the greater the reward. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is just another stepping stone to success. As long as you learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward, you'll be just fine. And finally, don't let anyone else define your limits. You can achieve anything you set your mind to. Don't let anyone else tell you what you can or can't do. Only you can determine your limits. Class of 2016, the world is waiting for you. Go out there and change it. Be bold, be fearless, be yourself. Congratulations and good luck.